Hi, and welcome to Mondays with Marlo. Wow, what a season this is for weddings. It's very exciting. The whole world is kicking off the wedding season with Prince William and Kate. And today we at Mondays with Marlo are kicking off the season with the great extraordinaire wedding planner and party planner David Tutera, who came in from Los Angeles just to be with us. David, welcome.
It's great to be here.
This is
Thank
so
you
exciting.
so much. Thank you.
Do you wish you were doing the royal wedding?
I actually am happy that I'm sitting back watching, to be quite honest. I mean, it is quite the spectacle already, and we're just days away. I'd like to actually watch it. I think there's too much. There's a lot of hype on this.
It'd be fun to have you on after it, and you could review it for us.
You know, that's what I'd love to do, because I have so much to say now, but I have no information to say it about.
I mean, all those people for the dinner and the.
It's a lot.
Oh my goodness.
It's historic. It's a historic moment for everyone.
Now, I want you to know that we've had many, many guests, but you've had more pre-questions than anybody we've ever had.
Wow.
So it says a lot about you and a lot about the time of year that this is,
yes.
you know? So here is the first question we want to give you. And this is from Roxanne, and those people are right there in the camera. David, I'm a huge fan of all that you do. When planning a wedding, is it smarter to opt for a low-cost venue and then splurge on the food and the decor? Or is it better to shell out more money for a venue that needs little in the way of decorating and includes catering?
That's a great question. I mean, it really is. I think you can actually go both ways. It depends sort of what's most important to you. A lot of people pick a venue based on sometimes the exterior because it's best suited for the ceremony, and then sometimes the inside of the venue needs a lot of help.
Yeah.
So you want to sort of figure out what's more important visually. Do you want your ceremony to look amazing? Do you want your celebration to look amazing? If it means that you want both, yes, you will have to opt out and spend money on the visuals inside. So that's a tricky question.
It would seem to me that it costs more money to decorate a place that's just four walls.
Well, let's say you're going into a venue that needs a lot of help. It's costly.
Yeah, it is.
The two most expensive things when you're physically executing your wedding is design, which is decor, and food. Those are the two highest price tags when executing your wedding.
Well, the next question is interesting. This is from Santana. And she says, I'd like to use something other than flowers for my centerpieces. Something cost-effective would be great. Any suggestions?
Oh, yeah. The easiest and most exciting thing to do that's romantic is an abundance of candles on every table. I mean, you look wonderful by candlelight. We all look great. It's romantic. It's sometimes sexy. It's opulent. But here's the trick. You want to sort of make sure that you've got a variety of candles, from votives to pillars to tapers, but all different shapes and sizes. The more eclectic that is, I think the more sophisticated it looks.
But isn't that just as expensive as flowers?
Well, you can go and get some wonderful closeouts on candles. You really could. And you know what? You can also get used candles, which look melted, which I love.
Oh, that's right. Where do you get used candles?
You can actually get them. You can go to craft stores. You can go to vintage stores. You can have a lot of fun with that.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
And different colors and things.
Yeah, and the other thing you could do also is if you want more of a modern effect, you can do glass containers filled with water, lots of floating candles. There are no flowers involved, and it's a simple way to add, again, a glow, but a little bit more of a modern, contemporary environment.
That's great. That's a great idea. Okay. This is from Sam. He says, many times grooms end up taking a back seat in the wedding planning due to the overzealous bride's need for perfection and control. Oh, Sam, you're in trouble. What words of wisdom do you have for grooms who may want more involvement in the planning and for brides who are controlling all the decisions?
Be careful what you wish for. I think that's sort of a loaded question. If your bride is very involved and she wants you to sort of not get too involved, I think, my bit of advice is pick something that you want to be involved with, but don't overstep your bounds. It's not a great way to start the marriage. But a lot of grooms are very much more involved. I mean, in fact, I'm even meeting with, we like to call them groomzillas, because they see things black and white, which we all know. The women see things more emotionally, and they want to make decisions quicker, the guys. But the brides want, they want choices.
And they want options,
and they want to take their time, which I think is important. It's the most important day of their life.
Yes, it is. For the groom, too, I hope.
Yes.
All right, here's from LJ. What are the 3 biggest trends in wedding decor that you're seeing for 2011?
The trends that I would say I'm seeing, I like to say I consider myself a trendsetter, is to to not have everything so cookie cutter. The more eclectic, the better. I mean, you want to feel like you're going to a wedding and you're feeling as if you're dining at an intimate dining experience as opposed to one table of 20 tables. You know, different shaped tables I think is always a great way to look at it. Not just all rounds or longs and rounds. Something I just started that's really kind of cool is I call it an X table. All that is you take several long tables and you create an X, and then you sort of have a cluster of guests that can be seated at it. 50, 60 guests.
Oh, wow.
It's a great place to put the friends of the bride and groom. It makes for more of a conversational, social environment.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great idea. I never thought about different sized tables.
It helps. I think it helps making it feel less cookie cutter.
Yeah, that's great. This is from Lauren. What is the most horrendous wedding theme you've ever been confronted with on or off your show? Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
We don't have enough time.
Well, pick the most horrendous.
I can tell you one I just did. It's actually going to be out on season 4 of My Fair Wedding. I'm going to ask you this question. You ready? All right. So if a bride came to you and said, my theme is Gothic, Victorian, and dark.
Oh, God.
That's what I did. And I was like concerned for a good 3 weeks leading up to the wedding. It just was very heavy and a little bit inappropriate to me.
Adams family.
Yeah, well, she looked like Morticia Adams.
That's right.
She really did. So it was a little, you know, it was...
So how'd you talk her out of it?
Well, I didn't talk her out of it because my job is not to talk my bride out of it, but it's sort of to find a way to make it make more sense. So I lightened it with, well, back to the candle question, a lot of candles, I brought in deep red. Instead of everything being black, she wanted everything to be black, including her dress.
Oh, my Lord.
She wanted everything. So I brought in the colors of deep red. So to me, it lightened up the dark mood.
Right.
It made it feel like you're more in love as opposed to sad that you're getting married.
What was your groom like?
I'll just paint the picture of a black top hat, a lot of goth makeup, and a lot of tattoos.
Oh, wow.
Not that there's anything wrong with any of that. It's definitely a look. Maybe for Halloween and not for your wedding, but it was a look.
This is live from Lexi. What is a good number of bridesmaids to have?
Oh, great question. Not so many.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think 3 to 5 bridesmaids is plenty.
Yeah.
When you start to cross that line of 9, I've seen 12, I've seen 15
I
bridesmaids.
I know.
You first of all, you open the door to so many people complaining, so many questions, and so many people with opinions, and then you're not a bride anymore. You're a ringleader, and that's not what I want my brides to be.
It's also about not being able to make choices because it's hard. And,
it's hard to make
you don't want
12 girls
feelings.
look good in one dress because every girl's a different body type.
But every bride doesn't want to hurt her friend's feelings. That's the problem.
It is the problem, but sometimes there's a lot of emotions in that room. Let me tell you.
That's right. This is live from Victoria. Hi, Victoria. Welcome. Kate Middleton revised the traditional wedding vows. Hers will not include the word obey, but will have love, comfort, honor, and keep her husband. What do you think of that?
I think that's wonderful. You know, I've watched that happen over probably the past 10 years. So
Right.
I think that's just that is a way of us looking at the modern times of weddings. You know, Princess Catherine is our modern day royal bride. Right. So I love that.
And I like that she added the word comfort.
Yes.
I've not seen that before.
I love that too.
That's very nice. When Phil and I got married, we made up our own vows.
Did you? You know, I'm glad you said that because it's the opportunity for the bride and the groom to say something from the heart as opposed to repeating something from the officiant.
Exactly.
So,
and what you want.
Yeah, and we're all there.
Right.
We all want to hear the special moments between the two of you, why we're there for the union of love.
And we said we'll support each other's dreams because we're so full of dreams, and that was important to us.
That's great.
And at one point, my husband always wants me to go with him everywhere, so I put in my vow, and I'll go everywhere with you, and he said, good. I said, you're not supposed to comment on my vows.
Well, let me ask you a question. So did you read to each other your vows prior to the ceremony?
But he was excited when I did it.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
So not a surprise?
No, it wasn't a surprise.
Did you cry when he read his vows?
Oh, I cried. And also, I couldn't remember my vows. I was so excited.
You tried to memorize them?
We did memorize them. And he was perfect, and I wasn't perfect. And he thought I didn't take the time to memorize them. And I said...
You were nervous.
I was so nervous. He said, but you're an actress. I said, I'm not an actress now.
Right.
This is the most emotional day of my life.
You're playing the role of you.
Yes, exactly. So let's see here. Hi, David. This is from Vicky. Is cash an appropriate wedding gift? If so, how much?
Well... Here's the rule of thumb of etiquette, and I don't think it's necessary to do cash, but the old tradition in etiquette for cash gifts is the value of what it costs per person for head for catering. I mean, that's really what people look at.
Well, how would you know?
That's the thing. Most people have to look into where they're going, how much it's going to cost. If it's $100 per plate, is it $500? Now, if there's 2 guests going, the cash gift is obviously times 2 people.
Right.
But I have an issue with gifts with weddings. I feel like you have to give from the heart. And if you can afford what you can, that's enough. The gift that you give to the bride and groom is your presence at being at the wedding.
But I think cash is a good idea because you get so many,
You do.
candelabras and vases and
The
pictures.
bigger question is a lot of people ask nowadays, and because of technology, is can I put on my invitation, cash gift accepted, please?
Oh,
That's
wow.
not good, right?
No, I wouldn't
Okay,
do
good.
that.
I want to
That
make
would
sure
be
you thought the same.
embarrassing. I'd be very embarrassed by that. This is from CBS Trucking. CBS Trucking, really? Well, hello. What's your name? Is it personal preference or is there proper etiquette for wearing a blusher veil at your second wedding?
All right. The bigger question is that it's your second wedding. And I am a firm believer that you treat your second wedding just as if it's your first.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't feel that you should change anything based upon how many times you've been married. You're in love. You've met the guy that you want to spend your life with. So blusher veil is perfectly acceptable for a second wedding. It's totally okay.
Oh, that's nice. What about color?
I'm also okay with color. There's 200 shades of bridal white. So maybe don't pick the most brightest of the colors, but there are many other shades that you can pick. And again, I don't live my life for my girls' weddings by rules.
Yes.
I live them on what's best for them that makes them happy.
Yeah, I think that's lovely. Now, here's a really long one, but I think this is important. This is live from Allison. And Allison, we're going to help you with this. I'm in the starting stages of planning my wedding, hopefully setting the date next week. My fiancé has 3 groomsmen, but I don't have a lot of close girlfriends that I would want in my wedding. So I only have a maid of honor and a bridesmaid. Do you think this will be a problem, or does the fact that I have 2 flower girls help us out? I'm just really worried it's going to look stupid if we have an uneven amount of girls and guys at the altar.
I think it's perfectly acceptable to be not balanced. In fact, it's wonderful because you have yet something that's not so expected. And you can also pair the girls up and the guy up with more girls. It doesn't make a difference. Yes. And you can also have a moment where the girls walk in separately from this one gentleman and the music can change. So you orchestrate it more like a ballet than you do marching them up as couples.
And what I love that you're saying, David, to everybody that's writing in here, is that they should do what they want on their day. And there aren't any rules, colors, veils, food, candles, flowers or no flowers. That's great. So don't worry. You can have an uneven amount.
And a lot of people, so many people in the business now have spent so much time writing books about what to do and what not to do. It's how you should do it, not what you shouldn't do.
Right, exactly.
That's the difference.
That's wonderful, David. Now, this is interesting. She said, this is from Kristen. She's live right there. I'm getting married 024-2012 in Las Vegas. How soon should I mail the save the dates and invites? I want to allow ample time for the guests to reserve their rooms at a good rate.
Great question. So your invitations should go out 6 to 8 weeks prior for any wedding. If it's a destination wedding, what you can do is send a save the date out 6 months before your wedding, but still do your invitations longer than traditionally 6 to 8. So you want to do 9 weeks prior for your invitation. But you also can do a save the date that goes 6 months out prior with a little piece in the bottom, a little bit of information saying invitation to follow shortly.
Right. That's right. Okay, this is live here from is there an elegant kind of way of avoiding feeding your guests a meal or even a sit-down meal?
All right, so first of all your guests need to eat.
Right.
So I'm a little concerned about the question being, are we trying to avoid feeding them because is there a budget question?
I'm sure there must be.
I think it feels like a budget question.
Right.
You can do a longer cocktail hour. If your limited budget allows you only to have a 2-hour cocktail celebration after the ceremony, and then you don't do a dinner, and you want all your guests to be there for the wedding, that's okay. But they need to be fed.
The reception after the wedding
winds up being a longer cocktail hour.
Well, only a cocktail hour.
Yes. It could be a 2 or 2.5 hour cocktail party, and then that's it. Then the party's over.
But you have to have a lot of food.
You have to feed your guests. One of the things I think that brides do is that they get so excited that they're having a wedding that they begin to invite too many people.
Right.
And my rule of thumb always is that if you look back in your photo album and you don't recognize 50% of the people, then you shouldn't have invited them.
That's funny. This is from Laynot. Everyone's favorite part of the reception is the cake. Wedding cakes have come a long way. When it comes to choosing and ordering a cake, do you tend to advise couples to be frugally minded, or is this the item that deserves extra attention in the budget?
Well, if you really feel that this is important to you, then you should focus on making your cake spectacular. And the cake should be front and center, meaning it should be somewhere visible when guests arrive to the party and not in the back corner. Now, if there's an area that needs to be thought secondary as opposed to your budget, this is also an area that you can save the money. So it depends, again, how important the cake is to you.
Well, somebody told me that people are doing like cupcakes.
Yes.
And how do you do? What is it? A white cupcake, or what do you do?
Oh, we've done multiple cupcakes. It's the tiered tray, multiple cupcakes. What's great about that is you can also take the cupcake, box it in a wonderful little favor box, and that becomes not only the symbolization of a cake cutting, but the favor for the guests to take home.
Is it less expensive than a big cake?
Very much less
well,
expensive.
Good.
Yes.
Well, there you have
Yes.
it. That's great. KB, what is the biggest mistake a bride can make when planning her wedding? And I don't mean not inviting her mother-in-law. Probably not a good idea.
Oh, the biggest mistake is not thinking about your guests. I think what happens is the bride gets so self-consumed in wanting to be happy, me, that to me, if you extend the graciousness to your guests, they're going to be feeling as if they're included during the celebration.
Well, what kind of mistake could that be?
Well, they don't think about the flow of the event. They don't think about the transportation of getting from point A to point B. They're just so concerned about doing what they want for themselves that if a guest has to travel long distance, they don't want to have to get in a car and go from ceremony to celebration another 45 minutes to an hour away.
Right.
So you have to think about keeping them very comfortable, and then they become invested in the celebration and want to stay and be there.
Great. This is a good question. Thompson, is there a cool way to integrate technology into your wedding besides the typical wedding slideshow?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
We've done live feeds for those if we're doing a destination wedding and 40% of your guests can attend. You can actually do a live feed of the ceremony from the destination to people at home. Like
Kate and William.
Like we're doing right now.
William and Kate are doing that. It's going to be on YouTube, their wedding. Isn't that exciting? This is live from Susie. For financial reasons, my sister and I are planning a double wedding. Do you have any tips on how we both can incorporate our ideas, and how do I tell her I don't really like all that she cares for? Oh my goodness,
oh my
Susie.
Gosh, this is a toughie. Kudos to agreeing to do a wedding together. I just had met with two brides that are sisters, and they went shopping together for their dresses, and it was very cute because they were participating with helping them each pick out the dress for one another. The question is, do you have the same taste? And if you have the same taste, you have a lot of trouble ahead of you.
Right, if you don't. I don't know how you could possibly have a tip for what do you do, how do you tell your sister you don't want to do what she wants to do?
I don't think you tell your sister that you don't, that's a bad idea.
That's right. Okay, this is from Brianna. If you're trying to save some money in your budget and you want to skip on something, food, venue, bridesmaids, gifts, what is the best place to cut corners? And what aspects of your wedding and reception should you never skimp on?
Okay, so great question. You know, when brides get engaged, the first thing that they do is they jump online and they start buying all the little things that wind up costing thousands of dollars.
Right.
That's the last thing that you should do. Where they can skimp or save is smaller cake, no favors, the elements that don't tell the bigger picture of the story.
Right.
What they can't skimp on is food. They can't skimp on music. They have to have the things that are celebratory.
Right.
You want to eat and dance.
Yeah, and I never care about the favor.
No, I mean, what do you do with a favor?
The favor's a total waste of money.
I leave in the car sometimes.
And it has their name on it.
Right.
Now what do I do with it?
Right.
Yeah, it's not necessary. That's a good one. This is live from Sarah. Hi, Sarah. I'm getting married out of state. What is the best way to ask guests to send the gifts to our home and not bring them to the wedding?
Great question. And you can certainly do that on an insert in your invitation. And if you're doing a page on a website that you're having made for yourself, you can put the information there as well, and you can make sure that you tell your bridal party to tell their friends and guests.
This is a good question from Kimberly, also live. What's your opinion on wedding vow renewal ceremonies? Should they be small and modest, or could they be as big as the first time around?
Well, since I'm in business to do weddings, of course I'm going to say bigger the second time around.
Why not?
Typically what happens now is a lot of people are wanting to do a renewal of their vows because they didn't have a budget back when they got married.
Right.
So they want to do what they missed out on.
That's very good. I'm sure that's true. Let's see here. This is live from Lisa. She says, I would like to recite my own vows, but I'm divorced and feel that if I express my true feelings, we were high school sweethearts, it may be too much for my kids. What do I do? Stick to the traditional vows?
No, I think you can definitely recite your vows.
Yeah.
I think just to be careful on what you select to share.
Right.
I think it's totally okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't talk about that
Yeah.
time in the car or anything like that.
Maybe she should. I don't know.
Well, high school, that's where my mind goes. Okay, this is live from Sue. There is drama with my future mother-in-law. How do we let her know we will not tolerate her, quote, episodes on our special day? We have considered not inviting her to the wedding,
Ooh.
but this is her only son that we'll marry.
All right. Well, I get this question asked a lot.
Do you really?
Yes, I do.
Oh, wow.
You know, and here's
there are
the
that
thing.
many bad mothers-in-law?
A lot of bad sort of moments that happen. They become bad when they get engaged. You have to include your mother-in-law. Take the bigger step.
Absolutely.
Take the higher road. You are marrying a family for a lifetime. If you start out on this foot now, you will never, ever be able to fix it.
No.
You'll be
Never.
haunted for the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah.
So actually what you should do, find a project or two and give it to her to do for the wedding. It'll keep her busy.
Like what?
Favors or gifts or picking out some small trinkets for the bridal party.
Right.
It'll give her something
That's
to
a great
actually
idea.
do and take her mind off of the things that she's not doing.
No wonder you're so famous. That's a very good answer.
You know, wedding planning for me is sort of the last on my list. I'm more sort of I'm like a mediator, psychologist.
Right.
I have to become their best friends really
Yes.
fast. They have to trust me.
Right.
So
Oh,
I
that's
pay
great.
attention.
Is there a lot of that in your book? I see your book here, My Fair Wedding.
Yes.
Are a lot of the answers here?
A lot. Well, this book is great because it brings the fans back into the storylines
and pretty
of the
pictures.
episodes.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. And it also takes the reader through 10 chapters of being able to execute your own wedding at
Oh,
home.
how great.
Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful. Because not everybody can afford a wedding planner.
Exactly. And that's a luxury,
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
is. It's a luxury.
Of course.
This allows them to have one in their own hands.
That's great. Let's see here. Is there an element of the wedding that people, to your horror, tend to overlook? What's your favorite thing to embellish that couples might tend to glance over?
The most important thing that people overlook because they can't see it is lighting. Lighting is so important.
Right.
They spend so much time on picking the flower centerpieces
Right.
and there's no light on the table to see it. Or then they've picked a band and you can't see the people dancing on the dance floor.
Oh, right.
So make sure you put lighting into your budget so you can see everything that you've worked so hard on.
Yeah. This is from Mrs. Smith. If you had the opportunity to design any celebrity wedding for a real or imagined celebrity couple, whose would it be?
Ooh, wow, good question. I'm a little stumped on that one.
I thought for sure you were going to say Angelina and Brad.
No.
You're probably so overwhelmed with Kate and Philip that you can't think about. I mean, Philip and William, you probably can't even think about it.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Well,
I have to
you
think
can come
about
back.
that.
You
I'm
can
going to
come
keep
back.
thinking about
You can
that.
come back to it. Live from Judy. Are there any creative, fun ways that I can involve my 7 and 10-year-old children in my second marriage ceremony?
Oh, yeah. I mean, first of all, they should definitely be in the bridal party.
Yeah.
I love it. There's something I just started to do, which I love. So, you know when the bride and groom have their first dance on the dance floor? So they're out there as husband and wife dancing. Then the music changes about 60 seconds in, and the music becomes a more celebratory song. The kids come and they dance together as the first time as a family.
Oh,
And that's
how
a great
nice.
way to incorporate them.
And a lovely thing that I saw, my girlfriend Kathy, when she married the second time, her daughter was about 6 or 7, and she also got a ring. So they all 3 got a ring. I just thought that was so sweet.
I thought of a celebrity.
Okay.
When she gets married, which may be forever from now, I can't imagine what I would do. Lady Gaga.
Oh, gosh.
Great, crazy wedding.
Great. Oh, you'd have a ball. Oh, my. That'd be better than the Gothic.
Probably will be just like it.
That's right. That's great. Live from Storm. My best friend is a man. Can I have him as my man of honor, or is that just too much?
No, I've done it. My partner actually was in a bridal party, and he was a maid of honor, or man of honor.
Right.
But it's great to incorporate. You know what? Again, you can do anything that you want.
You know, at our wedding, my sister stood up for me, and my husband's sister stood up for him. We had our 2 sisters.
Of course.
Yes, so you don't need to know. There's no, and you can certainly do it any way you want. Here's another one. This is live from Kat. Welcome, Kat. I'm having a small destination wedding, so I'm only selecting one bridesmaid. How do I break the news to my good friends that they will not be bridesmaids? And is there a way of including them without having them walk down the aisle?
Oh, of course. They can be a host or a hostess at any one of the parties if it's a destination celebration. You might be surprised. They might not be so disappointed to not be a bridesmaid. So don't go into it with a negative attitude. Share with them how excited you are that they're coming and that you've got one person there for you at your bridal party, but you want them to do other tasks.
Right. And also, it's expensive. You have to buy a dress and everything. Probably will be a relief. This is from Chill. David, I love your work. If you have a small town with nothing in it, how do you plan? I live in a little hillbilly town of Atoll, Massachusetts, I guess that is. We have nothing around here. We so need all the help we can get.
Wow, that's
a web wedding, right? She's gonna have to get everything on the
she's
web.
going to have to go online and look to see what you need to bring in. But
Right.
again, going back to what I said earlier, be really careful that you don't buy little teeny things. You need to buy the bigger picture. You know, you don't want to focus on the cocktail napkins and the matches and the little ice cubes and all the things that make no difference at all.
Right.
So bringing it in may be of help, but there's so many websites that can help you with that.
Good. This is from Veronica. Hi, I'm getting married this summer and I'm very interested in green or environmentally friendly tips and products that I can use for my wedding. What kinds of green wedding trends have you been seeing?
What I love is when the centerpieces on the table are collections of plants.
Oh, that's nice.
So we're not cutting down flowers and using the floral, but you can plant in your own garden at home. They can also be favors that guests take, using locally grown ingredients, of course with the caterer, or if you're cooking it yourself. Those are great ways to
you could have flowers and herbs.
Absolutely.
That'd be nice.
Absolutely.
That'd be very nice. Oh, I like that. This is live from Ruth. I plan to have a very small, intimate wedding with close friends only, and only family members with whom I have a relationship. Any advice on how I can deal with friends, families that aren't invited? How can I make the uninvited people understand that it's nothing personal? It's just about what I want and envision for my day.
I think you kind of asked your question and answered it all at the same time.
Right.
I think you just have to be very open and honest. Don't skirt the issue, which will cause a problem. Share with them what you want and what you want for your most important day of your life.
My husband and I got married with 35 people.
That's small.
Because we thought if we did it really big, it would be thousands of people. So I just thought, we'll just make it our very closest
And then
people.
you are able to enjoy yourself.
Yes,
you and Phil probably had a great time.
We had a great time.
You didn't feel obligated to be jumping from table to table to table.
Yeah. And we knew it'd be, all the business people and everything. Okay, let's see here. Annie, we need a great idea for a summer renewal ceremony. You bless so many people. You can see the love you have for people and everything you do.
Thank you. It is nice. I love what I do. I really do.
Obviously.
I love making these girls feel special and feeling important. For a summer renewal ceremony, you have to just embrace the surroundings you're in. I mean, the environment that you're in. I would definitely do a sunset ceremony.
Oh.
Outside, let Mother Nature be the beauty surrounding you. And I did a wedding at my house in Connecticut. It was really wonderful. It was a summer wedding. My aunt had wanted to get married. She wanted to come to the property. And we have a beautiful pond where we did no decor. We actually had a floating dock put into the pond. She got onto the pond with the officiant, and all 120 guests around the pond held candles.
Oh, how lovely.
So the beauty was the beauty was already there.
And talk about lighting.
It was amazing.
You had God's light.
We had God's light.
It was
we
great.
had the reflection of the candles reflecting on the pond.
Oh, how beautiful.
It was absolutely magical.
What time of day?
It was probably about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. And then as it got to dark, she came down a long alley in the woods. We had violinists in there.
Oh, my goodness.
But nothing was expensive. It was just how it was executed.
Oh, it sounds great. Let's see here. Oh, this is, I understand this, Misty. Misty is live for us. She said, my sister's getting married and wants me to wear a dress that I just feel horrible in. I know it's silly, but what can I say to her? I'm just miserable and I'm dreading the whole thing.
That's a hard question.
It is.
Yeah, you don't want to upset your sister, and unfortunately it is tough because there's a lot of not so great fashion for bridesmaids. I think have a conversation with her, but don't approach it on a negative way. It may not be changeable. It may just be that you have to wear that dress.
Oh, how awful.
I feel bad for her.
Yes. Well, just make your hair real pretty.
Yeah, wear great jewelry, great shoes.
And think good thoughts. Think good thoughts. And then when you get married, you give her a bad dress.
Or the same one.
Just kidding. All right. This is from Missy. On the subject of Twitter and Facebook, I've seen many people using social media in regards to their wedding planning. Some create Facebook events as a way to invite and have attendees RSVP. Others have used Twitter and blogs to keep friends and family in the know about plans, travel arrangements, updates, and of course post pictures. Do you have any social media etiquette tips for couples? What's the most creative use of social media that you've seen a bride and groom use?
Well, I'm a fan of social media, but I'm not a fan of social media when it comes to weddings. I think being able to create your own website is a great way. Incorporating little tips about your wedding via Facebook or Twitter are wonderful, but don't rely on social media. It's still a wedding. you need to have a line of communication. I may sound like I'm aging myself, but I think it's important to have the communication one-on-one with people and not depend on just getting all the information online.
I think so,
It
too.
detaches yourself from the reality of what it is.
We're running out of time. We are out of time, but I want to give you one more question because I think it's important. This is live from Misty. We're planning a wedding and the stress is getting to us. We're starting to be curt with each other and we never have been before. I'm getting worried that this wedding is taking a toll on our relationship. Help.
Yeah, you know, it happens.
You're the psychologist.
I know,
We need
and this
you
is
here.
what I'm going to tell you. You need to put down the wedding plans. You need to take the books, put them away. You need to go on a date night. Don't bring up the wedding. Don't talk about the stress that you're individually feeling. And you may be feeling stressed because you're not including each other also in your feelings about the wedding. So you have to balance out what to share, when to stop, and how to enjoy life. The wedding's going to happen, but you have a bigger life ahead of you.
Thank you. That was great.
Welcome.
Isn't he good? I'm very excited. You are really wonderful.
Thank you so
You're
much for
a dear,
having me.
too. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to us this week. And I just want you to know that we're out of time, but this will be up on the site in just a few hours. And because everything is about the royal wedding this week, our partner AOL has got a special whole website called royalwedding.aol.com. And please come back with us next week. We're going to have Judge Judy live to guide us on what's going on with our lives that might need legal advice. And also she's got some advice about starting over and reinventing yourself, as she did at 50, the great Judge Judy. And don't forget, look at that wedding. Bye-bye.